Now, when it comes to car audio, Orion is certainly one of those brands that have a huge following. And on today's show, we're covering a lot of new solutions based goodies for the mobile audio market. We've got their product expert, Gabriel, joining us, and we're going to break it all down. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Orion Mobile Audio. And it starts now. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and you are locked into CMA Networks, where we talk mobile electronics day in and day out. On the menu today is Orion Car Audio, one of my favorite brands because, well, let's be honest, it's one of those brands that have stood the test of time. It's an absolute legacy brand, and they continue to come up with new products. And today's show is no exception. We've got our guest, Gabriel, joining us. Gabe, what are we going to be talking about in today's Connected? Because there's a lot of goodies for sure.
Hello, Ben. Today we're going to talk to you about four different products from Orion. The two first one will be from Cobalt series, which is going to be the 8-inch subwoofer, which is a new product. We're going to have also some shallow mid-ranges. And from the XTR series, we're going to have a port-loaded ones and the under-seat enclosures.
All right, sounds like we've got some new hardware to talk about in both Cobalt as well as XTR series of products. But first, an opportunity for our partner SiriusXM to remind you why it's always an amazing add-on sale. And when we come back, we're talking Orion Car Audio, so don't you dare go away.
Hey, Paul here with SiriusXM, and I'd like to talk to you about attachment selling and why the SiriusXM product is one of the best things to add, especially since we don't trade dollars with any other category. I could go through all of this, but let's hear what some of our dealers have to say.
It's an easy add-on that takes, 10, 15 minutes if we're running an antenna, 1 minute if we've got an adapter to plug it into the factory SiriusXM antenna, and it's extra money, so no brainer.
I present it to every customer because a lot of customers don't know what all they can do with Sirius. They don't know what all content they could have. It just makes too much sense not to sell it.
It creates a different customer loyalty and customer security when you explain to them why it's a better experience. Just gets them back in the door, and then the next car, they're already asking for it again. So it just keeps selling itself. It makes more sense.
Well, there you have it. You heard from our dealers. Just remember some of the best practices. Make sure you have one on display so you can demo it. Make sure you're taking advantage of our rewards program, because if you're not taking advantage of that, you're leaving even more money on the table. Make sure you got our POP up on display. And other than that, just make sure you're recommending it.
All right, welcome back to the show. We have our good friend Gabriel from Orion. Gabe, how are you doing today, sir?
Just fine, Ben. How about you?
I'm doing really good. I'm really fun because I like what we're talking about today. I want to talk to you about the evolution of Orion, because back in the day, all we cared about is how big, and it doesn't matter how size the amplifiers were, it doesn't matter how big the subs were. We would find ways to make it fit in our in our truck or whatever. But now we got to adjust. We got to make solution kind of products that fit into people's spaces. And I like to hear what you have to say about this evolution.
Yeah, every single day people is like, hey, we need something that fits our car. So, we have been planning on those limited space solutions, and the new Cobalt subwoofers is part of it. It's now we have an 8-inch model. It used to be only 10 and 12. So having an 8-inch on the lineup will allow you, to get subwoofers in those tight spaces.
Yeah, we're going to talk about this and many, many other options, but let's talk about that Cobalt series. Now, the Cobalt series, for those that don't know, is kind of like your entry point into the Orion catalog. Cobalt's been around a long time, but like you said, this is a brand new 8-inch. So why don't you tell us about this new 8-inch Cobalt subwoofer?
Yeah, first of all, it's an entry level, as you said. It's a stamp basket. It has a paper cone and a foam surround, and it's capable of 200 watts RMS handling power.
Well, I'm not going to lie, Gabriel. I'm kind of partial to 8-inch subwoofers. I always thought they give a nice little punch, but also it's a solution piece. And you're going to see the theme of today's conversation is all about solutions that Orion is coming to the table with. So when it comes to the Cobalt 8-inch subwoofer, what configurations will be available as far as impedance?
So since it is an entry level, we're going to look into connectivity. It's the easier, the better. So this will be available in dual force and single force voice coils.
Oh, very nice. So you're going to have the option. Very, very good. Okay. We're going to continue on the Cobalt series line because you're also introducing, like I said, another kind of solution product, this time in a shallow mid-range. In other words, a mid-range that won't take up as much depth. So what can you tell us about the new Cobalt shallow mid-range?
Okay, as you said, that's a solution because there's a lot of people, working on tight spaces. And when it comes to doors, if you got a small car, it won't allow you to put a bigger mid range. And people said we cannot put spacer on it. So what's the solution to it? I said we got now a Cobalt shallow mid range. We got them in 6.5 and 8 inch. So it's going to be like a 200 and 250 watts RMS. But the issue or the main importance point here is the depth. As you said, it is going to allow you to have a 2 inches on the 6.5 and a 2.5 inches depth on the 8 inch model.
You know what? I really like the look of those shallow Cobalt drivers. I think they're going to go into a lot of places and save a lot of headaches as far as installation is concerned. And again, it's the theme of today's chat. It's all about solutions, Gabe. Now we're going to step from our Cobalt series. Now we're going to go up to XTR. But these two products are very, very unique. And again, solutions based. So the first one we're going to talk about is an XTR powered underseat enclosure. Now, I remember when these kind of underseat enclosures came out, the performance was not that great. So I'm excited to hear what Orion has done with their XTR series.
Yes, Ben, as you said, Orion has worked extremely hard to get some power and bass out of this kind of subwoofers enclosures. Back in the days, people didn't like it, the lack of power. So we came with a solution that includes three different models. It's going to be a 6x8, an 8 inch, and a 10 inch. Yes, a 10 inch. When I tell people it's a 10 inch subwoofer underseat, they don't believe it. But Orion got it. Power wise, it's going to be 150, 250, and 300 watts RMS. But something really important is that you will be capable of reproducing frequencies from 30 hertz and above.
Wow, a 10-inch underseat subwoofer. That is absolutely amazing. I'm really excited to hear what that sounds like. But let's ask a few more questions with regards to the installation. What kind of inputs does this take? So, does how to facilitate the installation, and does it come with a remote control for guys that want to control their bass?
Yes, actually, we try to make it easier for the installers. If you are a DUI person, you can do it as well. It will come with all the wiring needed, and it has high power inputs and low power. So you can use actually the speaker output from your radio or the RCAs from your radio. And it has a remote power base. So you can actually control the bass on this independently from your head unit.
All right, we're still going to stick on XTR. This is another solution type product. This time it's in a tuned ported enclosure in two different sizes. So talk to us a little bit about the concept here and what we're looking at.
Okay, again, looking for tight space installs. People were asking, I like ported enclosures and I need a tight install. So whenever you have a tight space, we have the solution as well. It's going to be the XTP6 and the XTP8. So as the name says, it's two available sizes, 6 and 8 inches. Both of them are ported and will allow you to power like 200 and 300 RMS per subwoofer.
Well, I gotta say, Gabe, these look really, really slick and compact, which I think is great. Now, I know it's XTR, so it's going to perform, but I am a little curious. I mean, these are only 8-inch and 6.5-inch drivers. Do we expect a lot of output here?
Yes, actually, since we needed more power, we focus on the ported enclosure. Being ported allows you to get frequencies from 27 hertz and above. So you'll have deep bass on these little subwoofers enclosures.
I want to take this opportunity and thank Gabriel Perez from Orion for joining us on today's connected session. Now, like Gabe said, if you're interested in finding out more details on any of these new Orion products, make sure you head on over to their website, orioncaraudio.com. Now, like I said at the top of the show, Orion has certainly evolved as a brand. No longer is it just 3 or 4 subs and a couple amps. No, no, no. This is a full line. And on top of that, solutions based products like you saw today, whether it was the shallow driver or you're talking about an 8-inch subs. Now add to that enclosure options such as active underseat enclosures or even these smaller compact ported enclosures. Orion is getting ahead of the curve and providing customers with options and solutions so that they can enjoy their music in an Orion car audio way. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.